Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Well, 2020, and everybody that came to the show Saturday morning is very special because it's our 2020 introduction. Good morning, Mark. Thank you for appearing here this morning.
Good morning. I love coming out early on Saturdays.
Right. Do you really?
I do.
Oh,
I'm an early guy.
Oh, that's good. So 2020. So what do you think about 2020?
2020 is going to be a good year. I have this vision. See what I did there? Vision. It'll be a good year. It's going to be.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Except that when you see what happened now with this, the worst thing could be the war, and that's what scares the life out of me. But we won't talk about that this morning. We're going to talk about the war on figures, taxes, right? There's a war on taxes. Normally it isn't if you go to someone who knows what they're doing, right?
Well, they come to me. I'm General Morowitz in the tax war. They come to me and I create this battle plan, and we get through it, and we typically win the battle.
But it is true, as you said. Probably that is more true than not, that it could be a battle, but if you know who you're going to and someone's going to help you, and not go to these stores that you see in the...
Very bad.
I think you should talk. Maybe I didn't plan on talking about that, but why don't you do that?
There's a lot of storefronts that pop up, that they do taxes. I'm not talking about H&R Block. H&R Block, you can buy audit insurance from H&R Block for extra amounts. So if you get audited, they'll show up and help you with the audit. But these other storefronts, even though to sign a tax return, you need to have it's called a PTIN, PTIN. It's a number that identifies you with the IRS practitioner's tax ID number. Instead of us using our Social Security numbers, we get a PTIN number. And you have to satisfy certain requirements in order to be able to file tax returns. And if you prepare more than a certain amount, you have to file them electronically. So there's a lot of regulations. And a lot of these, these fly-by-night places, they open up, they take your money, they throw in all kinds of deductions and income and all kinds of stuff that you don't even know what it is. So it's a nightmare, and I highly recommend staying away from using anybody that you don't know or doesn't come with a good recommendation. I think
it's really good advice, because you're right. Sometimes I see this little office pop up, and then before you know it, it's gone. I was reading a whole article about that, and apparently the government made some things that were free, and then these people are not telling you that it's free, and there's all sorts of charges. So that's good. Well, that's why I'm so glad that you are such a prime person with us at Boomer Times. We trust you. We know that when we refer you that it's going to be good. So your article coming up in our January issue called Preparing for Tax Season. I love the article because I love how you tell everybody to get the box and don't throw away things, because you may need them, right, when you get the stuff in the mail?
Very, very interesting. The shoebox thing comes in because literally years ago people used to put everything in a shoebox. Now people use envelopes, but years ago things didn't have a listing on the envelope. Today, when you get something that's important for me as a preparer, whoever you use, on the envelope it'll say important tax information enclosed. Huh. If it says that, you need it. Okay. Years ago, it didn't say stuff like that. So I would tell people from January 1st on, just take everything, throw it into a shoebox. And we had a guy in our office who could take stuff in a shoebox and make it something. So it was like a master. Now people, just accumulate their stuff. They don't even open the envelopes. They leave that for me. And, cause everybody knows it's taxes. It's what I need.
Well, so an older adult, who just they live on Social Security, let's say. They have some investments, but they don't. What else do they have? I mean, what else is going to be important?
So there's a new form that came out this year for seniors. It's a short form. Honestly, I haven't even looked at it. It's a short form that if all you have is interest, dividends, and your Social Security, that's all you have to file. And I'm not sure that I would trust people to file it themselves, but like for certain things, like for homestead and stuff like that, you need to file tax returns to get certain benefits, VA benefits and things like that, in various states. So you need to file tax returns. Unless you have no income at all and you don't get any benefits, then it doesn't matter. But virtually every state, except for who has an income tax. Florida doesn't have an income tax, so it doesn't matter. But if anybody's listening from New Jersey or anywhere else, or online and listening to this, you may need to file a tax return. So it's a little bit simpler. It's got to be a lot simpler because there's only a couple of things you can do on it. Frankly, I don't have a lot of people that are that simple. I had somebody ask me the other day, they sent me a text and they said, hey, I see there's a new form out for seniors. I said, you don't qualify. And that was it.
You don't qualify, right? Well, that's good. Well, but people do have assets. And I want to talk about the people who don't remember they have assets. And let's say they just come to you, not people you've been tracking all this time, you keep a record. But what about if someone calls you and they say, oh, I'd like you to help me, and they have no idea what they have? How would you even find the things they have?
Well, I start with the prior year's tax return. If they don't have the prior year's tax return, if they're coming to me, they obviously know they have to file a tax return. So I start with the prior year's return. If they don't have the prior year's return, I get a transcript from the IRS that shows me where they got income from.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah. And that's basically where you start. And you just, go from there. It's follow the money. And because what happens if you don't report your income, all right, all of the banks and employers and brokerage firms, they report all the income for you. Okay. So the IRS matches it up probably within a year and a half of the filing date of the tax return. And if you didn't report something, the IRS will let you know. And then people call me and say, why didn't you report this? Mm-hmm. And I say, well, you didn't tell me about it. So, I don't know unless somebody tells me. I don't do that whole forensic investigation. Unless somebody wants me to.
Right. Okay. But let's say someone just forgot to file their tax returns for the last 3 years. Right. So then you'll still be able to track when the last one was.
I can go back probably 6 years on transcripts. What happens is within 6 years, if you don't file a tax return and there's income reported for you, the IRS will file it for you. They'll use the numbers that they have, which may not be, you won't be getting credit for deductions or things like that. So they'll file a return for you. So there'll be some kind of something on record for you.
Okay. And now let's say someone, though, they're fine, but they have now become a widow or widower. Things change then, doesn't it?
Correct.
Don't they?
Correct. And I get a lot of calls every year from freshly widowered people that, either the spouse took care of the financial records and things like that, and they don't know what's there. And, basically what I say, probably within 3 months of somebody dying, you'll probably either get some kind of notice that money was deposited into your account. So you'll have some kind of idea of what you have. But we can track that. We can go back through the records.
Let me just tell everybody, you're listening to Fine CPA, who's also matches his CPA experience with a very, very, very nice attitude, personality. So, we always think about sometimes people in the financial world, they don't really have this great personality, but
I do.
You do. Absolutely.
Compassionate, sensitive.
Very much so. He really is. Call Mark Morowitz at 609-338-3603. It's a free consultation. Just make the phone call, talk to him, see if he can help you. He may not be able to. He may say, no, you don't really need me. I don't know what he's going to say. Or you can get online and go to morowitzcpa.com. Mark, I haven't been on your website recently. Has it changed? You were working on it.
When was the last time? Yeah, it's up. It's up and running. It's brand new.
I think when I first met you about a year ago.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's different. It's
good.
Got some good stuff. It's
good.
Got all the back interviews that we've done on it.
Great. On YouTube.
Right. So it's you can link to everything, all my articles and everything else. And
that's excellent. I'm glad. Good. Yeah, I'm glad you got something like that done. Okay, so now we're preparing for tax season. So can you prepare for tax season early? Let's say you get your taxes done in April. Done. Can you start in May and June preparing? What would you do? Do you set up a system for people?
There are a number of people who pay estimated taxes throughout the year that have substantial assets and receive various types of income that aren't reported until March of tax season or April of tax season. And what I do is I have them track their income based on, what I think is going to be based on their income and deductions from the prior year. And like if they have rental properties and things like that, so this way, what I usually do is sometime September or October, I'll take a look and see where they are and see where the estimated taxes that I've set them up with in April, if they're going to match or they need to put away some more money. So it's not a shock. One thing I've learned over 43 years is that people don't like big surprises on April 15th. And I've done a couple of those and, not meaning to, but sometimes you just don't know what somebody's income is. I don't hear from everybody throughout the year. It'd be great if they all called me and told me, I'll see you in February or March, and here's what my income's going to be. And a lot of people do like to know. I just had somebody emailed me the other day and told me that his income went up. And see, I've trained my clients well. They know that if their income goes up, they may owe more tax, and which is a good thing. And instead of saying, my income went up, how can we get rid of it? So he asked me if he was going to owe more tax, and I did a projection for him. So now he knows. So come April 15th, he's making another payment now in January, and he should be covered for April.
Okay, but but they're taking money out of the accounts that they're getting interest on and they're making money on, and they're giving it to the government. Why would they want to do that?
Well,
really?
You have because if you have to pay tax on your income, okay, why not take it out of your income to pay the tax on? So if you work for a living, you get a salary, your employer takes the taxes out of your income every week. It's the same thing with interest and dividends. If you're making interest and dividends and you're paying tax on it, you might as well take that money out of the money that you've got invested. Where else is it going to come from?
Yeah, I see.
You see, the tax is a result of the income. So you might as well take it from the income. A lot of people don't get that. So they work for a living. They have all this out where they get Social Security. They have this interest and dividends. They have other income. They don't understand why where am I going to get this money from to pay the tax? And I said, well, you got income. Take it out of the income. It'd be nice to be able to invest all of your dollars, but you still have some tax to pay.
So then, as you said, they're not shocked when you do their taxes. And so April, they don't have a big load. They just have a little extra to pay that you've done, right?
If I know beforehand that if there were no surprises to me.
Yeah.
Most people aren't shocked. They act shocked. But then a week later they call and say, I kind of figured that I was going to owe money.
Oh, okay. So that's good. And there is something about people being late on their on paying their taxes.
Penalties, late payment penalties, late. The one penalty you always want to not get is a late filing penalty. So a late filing penalty could be up to 25% of the tax due. So if you owe $100,000 and you're 5 months late, it's $25,000 penalty.
What?
Yeah, it's
wait,
5% per month. So late filing penalty. So let's say April 15th comes and you don't have all your records. You're not ready to file. You have to file an extension, which is automatic.
Yes.
Okay? As long as you file an automatic extension with the Internal Revenue Service, you would get until October 15th to file your return. There are some people that don't file that extension, right? And if they're not my clients, like I go through from April 10th through the 15th, I continuously go through my list on my database to make sure that people who I haven't seen yet are getting an extension filed, okay? If I file an extension, we can always file a return on time. It doesn't matter, but at least their extension is filed. Because if they owe money, they're not going to be happy campers. But if somebody calls me on June 15th, they didn't have an account, they didn't file an extension, and they owe a lot of money, they're going to get 10% penalty.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
isn't
so
it?
there are various types of penalties. There's late payment penalties, which it's more like interest. The late filing penalty is the one that it's in your control. We always can control when we file, all right? And usually there may be reasonable cause not to pay the penalty. I can help with that. I try to make sure I avoid that stuff because that's a pain in the neck to get to handle 3-4 months down the road after you're vegging from tax season. You don't want to deal with stuff like that. So.
Let me tell you a personal story, which is very interesting. So I've had a CPA for 25 years, and he's always taking care of everything. But when we moved out of an office and we started working out of my home, and I had people working out of my own, like 3-4 people, and downstairs it was like a real office. And so we, the IRS, you get to deduct certain things. Well, at this point we were deducting 60% of our home because it really was being used that way. Well, the IRS, they said, no way. And they said, we have to come and see. And they came to the house and they saw everyone. They said, okay, you can have it. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens, right?
Right. As long as you can support your deduction.
Yeah.
You should be okay. People have to understand, they can tell me whatever they want. I say, well, if you're audited, this is what can happen. So if you get money back from the government that you're not entitled to, they're going to ask you for the money back.
Okay, so you are handling people who probably are working out of their homes, and they probably have a little side business. Do you allow them to deduct a certain percentage of their business from working in a home?
As long as the part of their home is used solely for that business. Right. In other words, you can't have a den and maybe stick a desk in the den and claim that den. That's the one thing. So if the IRS comes to your house and they see that you have one room dedicated solely for your business, you have some inventory, you have some file cabinets, and that's all you have in there besides a desk, and there's no television where the kids are sitting on the couch watching TV.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll fly, and things have to be. So what I usually do is, if that's the case, I'll take a percentage of the house based on the number of rooms in the house. I use one room out of 8, so it's 1/8, and as long as you're not a pig, okay? Yeah. Pigs get slaughtered,
of course.
Okay, I think everything is manageable, okay, and that's the theory that I work under. I work within the law. I don't, if people want to come in and if they sit down and say, I want to get back so much money, I say, you're in the wrong place. Okay, that's not what I do. Okay, so.
Yeah, well, that has paid off for you all throughout the years. My guest again is Mark Morowitz. We called him Dr. Money last time, remember?
Dr. Money, that's right.
We called you Dr. Money.
That's right.
I didn't put this in your article. We need to do that.
I need to copyright.
Yeah, that's right. We love it. Dr. Money. And Mark Morowitz is, you can reach him at 609-338-3603, and you can have a free consultation, or you can go to his website at morowitzcpa.com, and you can read his articles every month in Boomer Times. They're very, very interesting, as a matter of...
You can go to that website and click on Contact Us, and I'll get your message.
Good. Okay. And your articles, of course, are on your internet. You're saying are on your internet site, but you can get them now in, of course, you've been able to get them for a year or more in Boomer Times. And
that's the best place to go find them is in Boomer Times.
I think so.
Everybody should read the Boomer Times.
Read the Boomer Times. You'll learn a lot about that, too. We have Gary Polk, who is actually a financial person, and he's watching, and we are working with him also. He's doesn't do what you do, but I mean he's selling long-term health care insurance, which I think is very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it really is very important, and I certainly hope that people are paying attention to his advertising, because I have long-term health care insurance I've had since 1997, as a matter of fact. I've had it a long time because I knew it was going to happen. I
think I've had mine probably about that long, maybe a
good for you.
Maybe a little bit less. Maybe no, probably about 2001 or 2.
It's extremely important for people to get that. And so now let's say that you are talking to one of your clients and you see they don't have that, would you?
Depends on how old they are. I always ask people because I've had a number of clients that have had to use it, and it's some people don't say I have nobody to leave my money to. I don't care. When I tell them what it costs to go into a nursing home, they take my advice. But you can't. You have to be the right age to get it at the right price.
Yes,
We got into it when it was still new, and and then the insurance company started losing their shirt because they didn't realize so they started raising the premiums. But I'm locked in. I'm
locked in too. But I even had something probably better than you. I don't know if I shared that with you, that every 10 years I get 80% back.
Oh, that's nice.
It was a very unusual policy, and when it happened, my insurance guy said, you better get it because it's not going to last. And sure enough, 4 months later, it was gone. But, I was in the business, and I saw people, as you said, they all had to go. And then, of course, nursing homes were only about $3,000 a month. Now you can see $8,000, $10,000. That's right. Which is outrageous, isn't it? You wonder what happened.
People need a place to stay, right?
Yeah.
So, now you don't know. I've had a couple of policies where the people that I help people with, and they I don't sell this stuff, but the insurance company paid for home care,
right,
up to a certain amount, and then after the home care was I think you had 5 years or whatever it was, and home care is very expensive too. So if you don't have to go into a nursing home after you use up that allotment for the home care, you're done.
Yeah.
And these were reputable companies. So these people, they didn't have to. They ended up self-paying, for their home aid.
Amazing, isn't it?
And I have somebody now who's in a assisted living, and she's got I think she was at 3 activities of the ADLs, the activities of daily living that she needs help with. Now she's back down to 2. I guess she's doing really well. But it's between $8,500 and $9,500 a month that she's paying.
That's the assisted living.
Assisted living.
Which years ago that was unheard of, but now the policies pay for the assisted living. No,
she's paying. She's self-paying because she used up all of her insurance on home care.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
But the deal was, I said, what happens because I'm guessing that the nursing home part of it, if she ever has to go into a nursing home, could be probably $12,000 a month. Okay, if she runs out, as long as she could pay up front. Now she didn't pay it up front, but as long as she could show that she could self-pay 2 years of the assisted living, if she ever had to go into the nursing home, they would let her go there without paying, just take her Social Security as.
So see, and you're up to
so you spend your assets down, and I told her, I said, this is what what you guys worked for all these years, was to have money to pay for you to live. I said, so we sold her house, and you got rid of all your house expenses. Now you've got a place, they cook all your food, and if you don't like the food, they cook whatever you want. I'll give you a ham sandwich if you want.
Mark, this is why you're so good on the radio, and I know you've gotten people from the radio. Hopefully, they're going to like you as much as I do, and a lot of your people do. You do. You see, when we think of a CPA, you go into an office, they have their records, and they talk to you about your business. But you're really a Renaissance man because
I care.
Yeah, you do. You care, but you're smart. You have all the information, and so that's why I hope people who are listening, if you just want that extra, that extra source, you're really a wonderful source of,
thank you,
of helping people, but yet you have the ability and the education to help them with their taxes, especially, right? And bookkeeping.
There's a lot of people who can do that, but there's not a lot of people who care about doing that.
Yes, and that's why you've retained your clients for so long.
When people ask, when you go for interviews, and I haven't been on an interview in forever. When you go for interviews, people say, what are your faults? What's your major fault?
Oh, yeah.
And my major fault, most of the time is that I care way too much. I really, because I kind of get involved too much in the personal side of it, and sometimes that's not a good thing. I got my own personal stuff I got to deal with.
Well, it is good. No, but on our radio show with the Boomer Times, it's very good that you do care, and that's what we like. And for those of you who haven't heard Mark, he's on usually once a month, and he also has to practice up in New York.
New Jersey,
sorry.
Atlantic City. Come gamble and visit me in the office.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad you came in this morning.
The time really flies here,
I know it does. I know it does. But it was live this morning.
Happy tax season, everybody. And make sure you treat your CPA nice. Bring him some chocolate every once in a while.
Dr. Money says.
Dr. Money. Right. Bring some chocolate.
Bring some chocolate. Right. Thank you for taking the time and coming out this morning. And 2020 is going to be a great year for you.
Yes, it will.
And for
everybody.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.